What if the X-Files wasn't science fiction, but a warning disguised as TV? Could the wildest stories from the X-Files be rooted in truth? From mind control experiments to UFO cover-ups, this tarot reading peels back the layers of government secrets, forbidden knowledge, and real-world events buried in plain sight. Join me as we uncover whether the fiction we loved was a smokescreen for a terrifying reality, and what might happen if the truth finally breaks through. Hello everyone, welcome back, or welcome if this is the first time on this channel. We are going to hop right into question 1 in this X-Files inspired episode 1. And we're going to start with Oracle and then move into tarot. All right, so question 1. What secrets were too dangerous for the X-Files to expose? And we're looking for those things that are so volatile that even TV can't actually name them outright. Let's see what we get for this. Groundhog Day. Now, if you've ever seen Groundhog Day, and if you're my age, you probably have. This is a day that repeats itself over and over and over again. So I'm wondering if this is telling us that somebody has the power to make us live our days over and over and over again, and we don't even know it. Maybe some of us know it when it happens, but not all of us. Interesting. Okay, so let's see what else the cards are going to bring forward. And remember, this is all tarot fun and alleged. Okay. Princess Bride. That our world seems very real, but is actually very much fantasy, not real. So is this what people talk about with the Matrix, perhaps? Only I think it goes deeper than that. The Blob. I feel like with the blob came from outer space. So I'm thinking that there's something a lot more terrifying about situations with outer space. Things that maybe have come to Earth that are too dangerous to be exposed. Allegedly. So we have repeated time, we have fantasy world, and dangerous things from outer space. Then we have Roadhouse. Who's actually in power? Is how I take that. The Tunnel of Love. Murder on the Orient Express. And Night of the Living Dead. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, so Tunnel of Love. It has a stork on here, on this card. I'll hold it up here so you can maybe see the stork. The stork is flying and delivering a baby. So is this something about where babies actually come from anymore? Is that a secret that's too dangerous for the X-Files to expose, allegedly, is where babies actually come from? And then Murder on the Orient Express. Well, I think that one is kind of self-explanatory, not necessarily always on a train. that there's deaths going on by certain hands, perhaps, allegedly, and that there's something to the zombie story. Okay, so we're going to see what tarot has to share with this. It just always blows my mind what the cards come up with. All right, so let us see how far tarot takes this. All right, so we have the Ace of Swords. I feel like they can, whoever they are, allegedly, they can put any day in our mind that they want, any time period, anything, and take us there to experience it. That's what I feel like. And they can make us live those days over and over and over again. But it's unlimited what they can put in our minds. Ooh, okay. The Princess Bride and the Seven of Swords. Yeah, it's definitely not what we think it is, okay? It is, the Seven of Swords is someone on well, let's see, what's she taking here? She's taking, it looks like eggs. Can you see that? It looks like she's taking eggs with her tail and bringing it up and putting it, so she's taking eggs, which means stealing. But why? Does she know that there's a predator there that is going to come and eat the eggs and she's trying to protect them? Does she want to eat them herself? We don't know for sure. We don't have all the information. But we do know that things aren't as real as they're supposed to be. Nine of Cups. That is the wish card. But it's also a card about having everything that you want or they want. So I'm wondering if this blob is the people doing this stuff, okay? They have otherworldly help that keeps them wealthy, that keep, you know, that they get their wishes from, that kind of thing. And there's a lot more to it, apparently, than what it appears. They might actually, with this blob, what it might be saying, allegedly, is that they are giving people in exchange for this good living, this good life. Three of Pentacles with Roadhouse. Yeah, it's more than one group. Definitely more than one group that's in charge, in power, fighting for power even. The Hermit. I'm thinking, took me a second with that, but I'm thinking where I was saying that maybe where babies or how babies come into the world or how babies are delivered because of the stork. I'm thinking more along the lines of what they're doing to prevent babies from being born, allegedly, and mankind kind of being on their own. Alone, no more babies. The Emperor, who's in charge of, or who makes the decision to strategically get rid of certain people, like in Murder on the Orient Express. We have the Emperor. He's in charge. Night of the Living Dead, we have the Death card, which most of the time means transformation. But when we're looking at Night of the Living Dead, yeah, transforming people into Night of the Living Dead. So these are secrets that are too dangerous for them to actually name outright on TV. They hint at it in the X-Files, but they don't ever really come out and say, okay, look, they can do whatever they want in your mind allegedly, making you live day after day after day exactly the same in whatever time period they want to put you in. And that this world is not at all what we think it is. Okay? It can be pleasant. It depends on whoever's in charge and their mood, I think. And then that they're exchanging these people, whoever they are exchanging humans for two otherworldly beings, I'm assuming for food or slavery or something, allegedly. And so that they can keep their wonderful way of living. And that, we don't really know who's in power. There's more than one group, and they're, kind of working together sometimes and not working together other times. That fertility might be an issue. Somebody's calling the shots to get rid of certain people and transforming living to dead into the living dead. All right, so let us get these cards cleaned up and move on to question 2. That one was kind of a mind blower. And if you're new to my channel, I clean up a little slower, putting these cards at random into the deck because I want to make sure that I'm shuffled well and that repeat cards are actually repeat cards that are meant to come out and not just the fact that I shuffled badly. All right, and I do the same with the oracles. I just kind of put them in piles randomly. Ooh. And not in the same piles that I took them out of. That way, I know that they're decently shuffled and repeat cards do actually come. All right, so question 2. Who has been working in the shadows to keep these secrets hidden that we just went over, and why? So basically the powerful players and their dark reasons. Why don't they want us to know the truth about any of this? Whoops, we don't do jumpers, so there we go. See what we get. The man in the iron mask. The only way that they keep their power is if they keep things hidden. Excuse me. They have people behind them, a good number of people behind them, but they also have people who are always looking to unmask them. But for now, staying masked and keeping things secret is how they keep their power. There's Groundhog Day again. Again, repeat cards, remember? So when they feel as though they're getting close to being unmasked, I feel like they change the paradigm. They take the world, maybe they make the day before they're almost unmasked the day before and let that play until they know what to do or how to avoid being unmasked. And then maybe they change the day. Because even for those people who are, the powerful players or whatever, playing the same day over and over again, especially when you know it's happening, isn't going to be okay for them to forever. All right, so then we have Peter Pan. Yeah, they think we're children, that we don't have brain power enough, or that we're just not smart enough to handle anything that they have to share or that's actually going on in the world. We're just too much like a child. We're too emotional. We couldn't handle it. That's their way of thinking. Then we have bringing up baby. Yeah, they know that we are very invested in family. It's getting less and less, I think. Not for everybody. Okay, don't shoot the messenger here, but I feel like because of the way things have been, it started out where the wives stayed home with the babies, the men went to work, and then suddenly, it was impossible for the women to stay home with babies. And then babies started going to school much earlier. And then it's the school that's kind of raising the babies, which is owned by who? Okay, so anyway, I feel like they've just slowly been taking away raising the children, allegedly. And by doing it in this slow manner that we're too stupid to realize, according to them, and sorry for the word stupid, but we're too childlike to realize, we're too unintelligent, we're too young to realize what's going on. So let's keep going. For love of the game, Patch Adams, and The Great Gatsby. So with for love of the game, the main quote in there is, build it and they will come. In this case, whatever they build, the powerful players, whatever they build it knowing that we will fall for it hook, line, and sinker. That's what they're counting on. And if we don't, they can do it over and over again until we do. Till they come up with something, and that's all it takes. This is one of their most powerful things to do. There's two things with this card, okay? Patch Adams is a movie about Robin Williams wanting to become a doctor. And so they use the medical community. They use medical things to keep us under control, allegedly. Things have to change when they see laughter. Laughter raises the vibration, and if something that they put out there is too absurd, okay, and creates laughter, they know it needs to be changed. Take it back to the drawing board. It means basically that it's too bizarre for even the simple people to buy, so to speak. All right, so let's see what the tarot has here. Oh, and by the way, if you hear strange noises in my videos, and it's probably in pretty much every video that I have done, it is my Chihuahua who loves to lay in my room and snore. So that is what many of my videos will have in them, is a snoring Chihuahua. Possibly my neighbor's mowing, vehicles going past on the road. It's just life. All right, so 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, this is the seed that these powerful players have planted. They've masked everything. Everything. And so we never really know what to believe. We never actually see the sprout. Well, we see the sprout come up, but we never see it grow into what it actually is. Okay, so they plant the seed, and we get to see the seed and the seedling, but we never get to see the full plant. The sun. They have clarity. We do not. They know that the days are being done over and over and over again. We don't know that. We can't tell, most of us. They can see it very clearly because obviously they're the ones who have made it happen. Two of Swords. Yeah, there's two different kinds of people in this world. According to them, they're the thinkers, the ones who are smart, and the ones who are not. And they think we're in the non-smart category, and they think they're in the smart category. Six of Pentacles. Yeah, they want to make the child rearing, having children, that kind of thing, allegedly, as a thing of the past. Something that we remember but can no longer do. The Hermit. We had that in this position in the first question. Build it and they will come. Sometimes that takes a long, hard think to come up with something that we won't laugh at, or that isn't so bizarre that we, even a simple-minded folk, will believe it. So, yes, they have kind of like a think tank. Queen of Swords. This is the card of truth. They are definitely using the medical community for their own purposes, allegedly, making it appear as though they really care and that all they have is our best interest in mind. Not at all the case, allegedly. And the Ten of Swords. Yeah, the bottom line comes down to they don't want us to know, because the end result here is not good for us. Look at that card. It's like she's getting a lobotomy from all different directions. And I know that usually probably goes up the nose, but you know what I mean. She's getting probed in all different directions on that head of hers. So they are controlling the mind. Most bizarrely. Because they can. All right, so let us pick up these cards and move on to question 3. There are 6 questions in this X-Files Inspired Episode 1. Ooh. All right, so I got those. Let's take care of these. All right, question 3. What real events already slipped into the X-Files storyline unnoticed? So, is this show just entertainment, or is it actually hidden disclosure? Are they actually telling things that are happening in the world? All right, let's see what it shares for us. Midnight Train to Georgia. So this is a card of actually returning to your roots, returning back to simple, authentic life. And when you look at Mulder and Scully, they are kind of two opposite people. They both dress nicely, obviously, but they live very simplistically, despite what they probably make for a living. They don't have fancy mansion homes or anything like that. They're down in a very old office in the FBI. And they're hidden, okay? They're basically hidden away because, yeah, they're an embarrassment, so to speak. They're going back to their roots in the fact that they are trying to get back to the truth of things, which makes good sense. So this is kind of the show's way of saying, it says the truth is out there. That's like the main thing. So they're trying hard to make sure that people go back to the basics. Let's go back and do your research. Demolition Man. Yeah, I think if you remember that movie, Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, one is a bad guy, one is a good guy, one's a cop, one's a terrorist. They're fighting against one another. And obviously within X-Files, that is a thing. There's good guys, there's bad guys. They are fighting against one another. And Mulder and Scully are usually kind of caught in the middle because it all kind of combines together with the truths that they are discovering, with things, weird things and whatever that they're discovering. It all kind of flows together. Speed, ready for rush hour. Yeah, there's definitely things within the X-Files also that talk about disasters that happen to people, not just not just like natural disasters and stuff like that. I'm talking about if you see the bus on fire, we know from Speed that this was a guy that was not happy with his pension, I guess, as a cop, and decides to do something about it. Well, this is what I'm saying, is that some of the real events that are slipped into the X-Files storyline, supposedly unnoticed, have to do with people that are taken out for whatever reason they're taken out for. Okay. The net. Yeah. A lot of spying going on, a lot of phone tapping, things that you might consider the net or the internet. A lot of things known by the powerful players that shouldn't be known, except for, they're doing their own spying. And so different episodes offer information about that. The Last Samurai. Cool change. Does anyone really know what time it is? Yeah, with The Last Samurai, I think they're talking about, in this movie, it is the last person of a race. Which, if you think about a show like X-Files, it can be that. It can be the destruction the destruction of a specific people, allegedly. Or, it can be the destruction the destruction of beliefs, a belief system, a religion. It could be pretty much anything. Anything that has a specific ending, and we have The Last Samurai, so a specific ending to something that has been big in our world for a long time is what this card would be talking about. So if you can remember any X-Files storylines, any episodes that might encompass this, it's there. Then we have cool change, and kind of like doing your own research. This is kind of a slowing down, a going with the flow, a healing, a cleansing. Every once in a while within the X-Files show, these things have to happen to Mulder and Scully. Sometimes they have to take a little time off. Sometimes they have to heal from a gunshot wound or something like that. Sometimes they have to go off and investigate on their own rather than one or the other, with one or another. There are reasons for this. It's a cool change, but it also can open up some enlightenment, some things that they need to know. Does anyone really know what time it is? I think this is just saying that one of the things that, is happening is time travel, changing time, cool change, changing time. And it is shown in various ways in the X-Files, but perhaps done in such a subtle way, or maybe not done subtly at all. It says unnoticed, but that's because a lot of people take the shows as specifically entertainment and not doing their research. So let's see what Tarot has to share here. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, this is doing the work. You need to do the work. If you want to see what is actually real within the X-Files, you have to do the work, do the research. Really dig in and see what it is that's happening that is based on real life. Page of Swords. This is the studious person. The Page of Swords is the one who likes to study, who likes to research. And if you want to find, again, it's like a repeat of the Eight of Pentacles. If you want to find the information about the good and the bad, the who's doing what and how they're doing it, you're never done. Okay, you'll never be done researching. Keep being studious about it. Four of Wands. It's the energy that you need to have if you're going to be able to suss out what is actually happening, who's doing what, and what real events are actually real events and not just fiction in the storyline. And you should feel very much at home, once you start, when you find the answer to something, it should feel right. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, you can look at that one as like the spy. Somebody who is kind of new at it. I mean, if you can find somebody who's kind of new at it, you're going to be able to discover things a lot more quickly versus somebody who's a veteran. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, this is a group effort. Whenever it's necessary to try and find or get rid of something, whether it's a race of people, whether it's, whatever it is. It's always groups of people that are involved in that, allegedly. Four of Cups. Yeah, you need to know when to stop for a little while, when to just go, oh, I'm not going to get into that one right now. I need a break. And just turn your back on it for a little bit and start up again when you're ready. Five of Cups. Yeah, the Five of Cups is about loss. Time is not at all what we think it is. So nobody really knows what time it is because allegedly that can change, as we saw in question 2. All right, so let us get these all tucked away. My Chihuahua is laying at my feet now. He must want something. So we have 3 questions to go as I'm still recording. He's going to have to be very, very patient. He has been patient all morning long, as this is not the first recording I've done today. All right, so let's get these tucked away. Move on to question 4. All right. Question 4. What are the personal or collective dangers of digging too deep? So what are the consequences faced by truth seekers? The people who do actually dig into the X-Files, as we've been kind of talking about in this episode. I Am Legend. Looks like some of them might have to actually go into hiding off on their own, away from family, away from friends, away from pretty much everybody, and go on complete defensive. That can be what can happen to truth seekers, those who get too close to the truth. All right. Next. Demolition Man again in the same spot. They can, obviously it's sending somebody after them to make them quiet, thus going into hiding. Westworld. Well, there's even the possibility that it isn't just humans that are sent after them. It could very well be drones. It can be AI. It can be the AI dogs, sniffer dogs perhaps, that kind of thing that is gone after them to find them. Oh, Jiminy's. Get back in there. It just plopping all over the place. Okay. Shambhala. I almost feel like this is saying, well, two things that Shambhala is saying is that it is possible for these truth seekers to find a place of peace. And I'm not talking after death. I'm just saying to find peace in their own minds away from all of this. And that I feel like there are those who are assisting these people. Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. And please do not call me out on that. That is a title of a song by Cher. Truman Show. And The Shop Around the Corner. Okay, so yeah, these people have such a resilient spirit, these truth seekers, these researchers have such a resilient spirit, and they've learned, or they've somehow learned how to live off the land, and they're quite comfortable doing so. Again, everybody else is being spied upon, and they're still trying to do that, but they have to be able to find them first. And these people also, they kind of got to know people in places where if something ever happened to them, they knew that they could trust the shop around the corner. So they became friends with certain people. So if you're a truth seeker, a researcher, that might be something that you need to do, is get to know people. And do it as covertly as possible, because again, you know, everybody's being watched, allegedly. But notice that the Shambhala card is right in the center, and look at the coloring of that card. That's just saying that, you know, there is a higher truth to all of this, and you're doing the right thing. All right, so the Chariot. Yeah, the truth seekers, sometimes they have to move out really quickly and be confident about doing it. Be ready. Judgment. Yeah, unfortunately, the people that are sent after these truth seekers, they're called to do it, and they're ready because that is their calling. King of Swords. Somebody higher up has the power to think up the ways to catch these guys, and AI happens to be one of them. Six of Pentacles. Part of surviving this is remembering back to what you like most about life and striving for that. Nostalgia is very helpful. Death or transformation. Going from your typical being able to, what do I want to say? Living as everyone does in this mode, you know, in your own home and such. This is a complete transformation, okay? You're living like, and as it says, gypsies, tramps, and thieves. Not that those are bad things by any stretch. The card itself says resilient spirit, ancestral cycles, living authentically, or unconventional paths. So yes, your path is unconventional if you're here. And it is definitely a transformation from probably what you were living. You're no longer being watched. They can't find you. But they're using everything in their power to get the message of emotion to you. Perhaps they are preying on your family, friends, that kind of thing, trying to emotionally draw you out. Queen of Wands, yeah, this is somebody who took the time to create good friendships, nurture good friendships, people that they could count on just in case. All right, so picking it up here. Moving on to question 5. Hold on, Sammy. Question 5 coming up. All right. Ooh, almost lost them. Sometimes you got to be quicker than the cards. All right, here we go. All right, so question 5. How is fear used to keep the public docile and blind? So we're looking for how fear is weaponized, keeping the masses from asking too many questions. Now remember, we're going off of, you know, things that the X-Files is sharing in their show. And thus far, we've seen pretty much everything. Because the truth is out there, it just isn't supposed to be exposed, right? Allegedly. Okay. So how is fear used to keep the public docile and blind? Oh, it changes up all the time. They're using so many different things. They're using how the seasons are changing as an example. Oh my goodness. Fall is coming far too soon, which must mean there's problems. I mean, they can come up with so many different things. Pole shifts, etc. So, all right. So that keeps the fear there. Legally blonde. Yes, they use the legal things. You're always hearing about legal things in the news. Suing has been one of those things that, I mean, it's a regular in the news. So-and-so suing so-and-so, and it's just a constant. Makes people afraid to do anything. Groundhog Day. And I think with that one, we're looking at, they're trying to keep people doing the same thing over and over and over again. This day in this movie is repeated over and over and over again. But in real life here, they just repeat, allegedly. We hear the same things over and over again. We hear recall, 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 sickness, 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 birds, birds, birds. You get my gist. Okay, so everything is just repeated and repeated. And that's how they keep the public in fear. It's mortal fear, basically. Driving Miss Daisy. Yeah, they're the ones in the back seat. They're not really driving the car. They're the ones in the back seat. And they're dictating all of it. Dictating where we should go, how we should go, why we should go, etc., etc., etc. Then we have the Towering Inferno. Oh, wasn't supposed to take that card, but that's okay. Then we have the Towering Inferno. Yeah, Towering Inferno. They can take down a tower if that's what they choose, just to, well, it's a disaster, right? We've had that disaster actually happen if you think of 9/11, right? So that created a lot of fear. And then we have Transformation and Dances with Wolves. Yeah, they also tend to, for the purpose of fear, taking something as gentle and wonderful as a butterfly, which, by the way, is one of the insects in the insect world that does a lot of cleanup, in other words, of dead things, right? But they use something as simple and sweet as a butterfly and beautiful as a butterfly and transform it into something scary and dangerous. It's no longer just a butterfly. It can give you a fungus. There's so many different things that can be used, right? And then, of course, the pitting of people against one another. That's like one of the strongest things, allegedly. So let's move on to tarot and see what more it can add to this. Okay, so we have the Six of Wands. Yeah, this is something that many of us are probably recognizing, is that they're always turning something into something else. So again, we change of seasons. Oh my goodness, fall began too soon. It must mean this. They're turning the meanings on so many things and it's all to raise the fear. Yep, the Devil was Legally Blonde. They do what they can to take away our power in a legal sense. Our power's been gone for a long time, allegedly. But yeah, it's taking the power. Nine of Wands. This is the energy of being backed against the wall and hearing the same things over and over and over again. You have no control over the radio. You have no control over the television ads. None of it. So you hear it over and over and over again. You're backed up against the wall. It's all there is, unless you decide not to listen at all or watch any shows or anything like that. Four of Cups. Yeah, they make it kind of impossible to turn your back on the things that are happening. But like I said, unless you stop watching shows and things like that, yeah, that's the only way, is to distance yourself emotionally, completely. Four of Pentacles. Yep, they can make things look absolutely stunningly beautiful. Oh, we did nothing. It was not our fault. When in fact, we have the towering inferno there, right? Yeah. The high priestess, so many secretive, so many things that they have behind the curtain to use. It's just like a never ending supply. And then Seven of Wands. Yeah, pitting people against one another, having everybody be completely, the energy is nothing but defensive. What a shame, right? But you see all of this in X-Files. One way or another. Sometimes it's Scully, being defensive because, oh my goodness, this isn't the government she knows. And then you've got Mulder going, look, Scully, blah, blah, blah. And you can see it all the time in pretty much every episode. There's something that's being battled against, some fear, mostly fear. It's mostly fear. They even used an episode with bees. I mean, that was a big thing. I think that was part of the movie too. So taking an insect and yeah. All right, let's get these put back and we're on question 6. All right, last one. What would happen if the real truth behind the X-Files came out? So basically, when the aftermath of when fiction becomes fact, when people realize the truth that's actually in the show. What would happen if the real truth behind the X-Files came out? Well, I think some people would have to go on vacation, mind-wise, or they would have to spend a lot of their time talking about it because it would just be something they'd be having a hard time wrapping their mind around, so they'd have to either go off on their own or find somebody to talk to. Ball of confusion. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory in 2 ways. Okay, there would definitely be a ball of confusion. People's minds would be like blown away. Some people's. Because they've been so used to being misled by information, chaos, corruption. I mean, a lot of that stuff isn't hidden anymore. So, but yeah, it would be a ball of confusion. Field of Dreams. Yeah. There's going to be those who, whatever they're told, they're going to believe. The line really is, build it and they will come. Well, it just depends. I mean, you can build something that is nothing but lies and people will follow. You can build something that is nothing but truth and people will follow. So it just depends on who they are. So there's going to be people who are going to believe it's true and people who aren't. Elvis. I think there's going to be people that are going to laugh and laugh and laugh. This card says tickle me. They're just going to laugh their butts off. Okay, because they already knew. 2012. I heard it through the grapevine. And Casablanca. All right, so 2012. It is going to be apocalyptic for some people. So difficult for them to actually imagine that they fell for certain things hook, line, and sinker, that they believed what they were told. and that what they were told was all lies. It's going to be apocalyptic for some. Others are going to feel very blindsided, and I heard it through the grapevine. They're going to feel very blindsided and very betrayed. They're going to realize the deception. And they might actually blame it on somebody else. Well, I heard it through somebody else, but I didn't really believe it, kind of thing. And it's going to bring people together. Like-minded people are going to come together because of it. So for some people, finding out that X-Files was true, fiction becomes fact. Some of them are going to do fine and others not so much. They'll have a really hard time with it. And with tarot, we have Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, the change is going to be really something. And how a person reacts to it is kind of a spin the wheel. Depends on what you were like before. Judgment. They're being called to believe something completely different. That's never an easy place to be. But they will realize that it's time for them to get through that ball of confusion. Nine of Cups. A lot of people thought that if they believed what was being built, if they believed what was being said, their lives would be good. And it was wishful thinking. Really wishful thinking. This is the wish card. Eight of Wands. Yeah. Fast moving laughter. And the news of it would travel so quickly and there'd be so many people laughing because there's been a lot of people who actually really know that this ball of confusion is exactly what it is. And then we have Temperance, which is a balance. You're going to have some people who are going to be very calm about things, but to other people, this is just turning their world upside down. It would turn their world upside down. Queen of Swords. These people who heard it through the grapevine, I was told that by somebody else, and I was lied to and I was deceived, but I saw the truth. Well, they're not at all being truthful, but they are seeing it now. And Six of Pentacles. Yeah, it's going to bring people together. And people who have similar memories, similar ages maybe, similar. Those with children are going to come together. Those without children are going to come together. And they're going to share a lot. Memories being one of them. What they remember about at one point in time, life was different. But I think what they're finding out through X-Files is that even though life might seem different, there's still all of the misleading information has been going on for a long time. All of the chaos, all the corruption, allegedly. Now they're aware. So this is what can happen with that. So that is it for this X-Files inspired episode 1. Here is a teaser for episode 2 for next week. Next time on the X-Files inspired tarot series, they say the truth is out there, but what if we've seen it and forgotten? In the next episode, we uncover strange evidence, sightings, and secrets that might prove we've already made contact. Are we living with the aftermath of an alien encounter we've been forced to forget? Don't miss it. Alien contact. What have we forgotten about the evidence? So there's your teaser for next week. Also on the screen, there is the show schedule. It shows the 3 shows that I do and the times. And with that said, thank you so much for being a part of this X-Files inspired series, and I hope that I will see you again next week. Have a great one. Until then, have a great one. Take care.